Ladies and gentlemen, champions of purpose and destiny, each morning heaven watches to see who will rise with authority, not just routine. This is why your first conversation of the day must be with the one who wrote your day before you lived it. Before anything else, before the demands of the day begin to scream for your attention, before the notifications start lighting up your phone, before the voices of the world try to define your worth, there must be a moment where you bow your head, lift your voice, and connect with the source of all power. Because prayer is not just communication with God, it is the legal access point through which heaven invades earth. Prayer is your divine password. It is your spiritual activation code. When you begin your day with prayer, you are not performing a religious duty. You are accessing a supernatural dimension designed to govern the natural one. The world teaches us to hustle first and pray later, but the kingdom teaches us something higher. Pray first, and the hustle will follow divine order. You were not created to live in survival mode. You were designed to live in dominion. But dominion doesn't come through busyness. It comes through intimacy. When you wake up and open your mouth in prayer, you're not just talking, you are unlocking. You're not just whispering into the air. You are standing in the courts of heaven, making your case before the King of Kings. Every time you start your day in prayer, you are pulling power from eternity into time. You are telling the atmosphere, you will not define me today. I've already spoken to the one who does. Prayer is not optional for those who want to walk in victory. It is essential. Powerless believers are not victims of circumstance. They are victims of prayerlessness. You can't walk in authority if you never check in with the authority. The devil isn't afraid of your goals. He's not afraid of your calendar. He's not even afraid of your gifts. But he trembles when you begin to pray with knowledge, because now you're speaking from your seat in heavenly places, not from your struggle in earthly ones. This is why every morning must begin not with worry, but with worship, not with stress, but with strategy, not with a scroll through social media, but with a scroll through the Spirit. Your secret place is your strategy room. It is your war room. It is where battles are won before they ever begin. You don't fight for victory there, you fight from it. And when you rise from that prayer, you do not rise empty, you rise armed with peace, armed with wisdom, armed with discernment. You begin to operate on another level because you've consulted the master architect of the day. And the beauty is this: you don't need perfect words. You don't need to sound holy. You don't need hours of time. What you need is alignment, a sincere heart, a yielded spirit, a voice that says, Father, I give you this day. I surrender my will. Let my steps be ordered. Let my mind be clear. Let every plan that is not from you be dismantled before it ever reaches me. That kind of prayer shifts things in the spirit. So I urge you, don't leave your house without praying. Don't start your schedule without seeking divine strategy. The real strength of your day doesn't come from coffee or confidence. It comes from communion. Because when you start your day with prayer, you're not walking into the day alone. You are walking under covering, under command, and under covenant. And when God goes before you, nothing can stand against you. Victory becomes your default setting. Let me know if you want the next keynote expanded too. Of course, Aruj. Here's a 600-word expansion of the second keynote. Your morning decrees set the tone for destiny, written with that same kingdom authority, flowing rhythm, and spiritually charged energy you love. Your day listens to your voice. The moment your eyes open, something in the unseen realm waits for a command. The atmosphere responds, not to your feelings, not to your fears, but to your words. That's why your morning decrees matter. The first things you speak are not casual, they are creative. Heaven gave you the authority to speak what shall be, not just observe what is. You are made in the image of a God who spoke the world into existence, and now that same spirit lives in you. That means you don't just wake up and exist, you wake up and establish. So many people wake up and let the day define them, but a kingdom person wakes up and defines the day. When you open your mouth with intentional declarations, you aren't just saying nice things. You are forming the framework of your day. You are planting the seeds of what will grow in your atmosphere. What you say in the morning becomes the foundation of what you walk in by evening. This is why the enemy fights you in the first hour. He doesn't care if you run through your day as long as you run without authority. But when you start your morning speaking the language of the kingdom, aligning your words with God's will, you become dangerous. You set angels on assignment. You set demons to flight. You shift the temperature of your entire world. Say this in the morning and watch your world obey. Today I am walking in purpose. I will not be distracted. I will not be delayed. Favor goes before me. Wisdom walks with me. Peace surrounds me. The enemy has no access to my mind, my home, or my assignment. These are not just words. They are weapons. They are blueprints. They are boundaries. When you declare truth, lies lose their power. When you declare peace, chaos must sit down. When you declare clarity, confusion has to back off. Your decrees become the gatekeepers of your destiny. Some will say, but I don't feel strong in the morning. Understand this. Your power doesn't come from how you feel. It comes from what you know. And what you know must shape what you say. You may feel tired, but you still declare strength. You may feel uncertain, but you still declare wisdom. Why? Because your words are not rooted in mood, they are rooted in covenant. You're not speaking from emotion, you're speaking from position. You are seated in heavenly places, far above the chaos of earth, and your mouth carries that authority. The secret is consistency. A decree once in a while might stir the air, but daily decrees build a climate, and climates shape culture. When you make it your lifestyle to speak with purpose every morning, eventually your life begins to reflect the weight of your words. You don't have to chase peace, you live in it. You don't have to beg for favor, you expect it. You don't just survive the day, you set the tone and own the outcome. So, start each morning not just with prayer, but with prophecy. Don't just talk to God, talk to your life. Speak to your health, your relationships, your business, your assignment. Declare with fire and faith what the day must produce. Because in the kingdom, silence is agreement. And if you don't say something, the enemy will. So rise up, open your mouth, and tell the day what it must become. Because when a child of God speaks with authority, creation listens. Let me know when you're ready for the next keynote. This flow is absolutely Arush. Here's a 600-word expansion of the third keynote. Speak to the day before the day speaks to you with that same prophetic authority, Miles Monroe-inspired rhythm and deep spiritual insight you're flowing with. There is a truth the wise have always known. If you do not rise early to speak to the day will rise early to speak to you. And the day speaks loudly through pressure, distractions, noise, anxiety, and demand. It speaks through people's expectations, through unexpected news, through busyness that steals your breath. The day speaks. But what makes the difference between the overwhelmed and the victorious is who speaks first. You were never created to enter the day silently. You are not supposed to just see what happens. That is the mindset of the passive, not the powerful. Kingdom citizens don't wait for instructions from the world, they deliver them. You must rise early and prophesy to the day, because the first voice that speaks carries the authority to shape. That's why your words carry weight before the sun even rises. You don't talk based on what you feel, you talk based on who you are. Before the world hands you its report, you declare heaven's agenda. Before social media floods your mind with comparison and chaos, you flood your atmosphere with purpose. You say to your morning, "You will not control me. I have already spoken to the one who controls everything." That posture doesn't come from pride, it comes from alignment. The early morning is a sacred time, a blank page waiting for a command. When you rise up and open your mouth with intention, you are not just talking into the air. You are releasing spirit words into the timeline of your day. You are setting divine guards at the gates of your schedule. You are announcing to every hour, every appointment, every interaction, you will submit to the will of the Father today. Say this: I speak to this day and I call it blessed. Every distraction, delay, or demonic interruption is cut off. I walk in peace, not pressure. I live in rhythm, not reaction. This day will not drain me. It will deliver to me what God has ordained. That's not motivational speaking, that's spiritual government. If you don't govern the day will govern you. And let me tell you, the day doesn't care about your purpose. The day is a battlefield. But God has given you a weapon, your voice. He didn't say mountains move when you cry. He didn't say obstacles shift when you complain. He said, speak to the mountain and it shall be moved. Some of the most powerful victories are not won at noon. They are won in the early morning shadows, when no one sees, when no one claps, but when heaven leans in and says, there is my child, taking dominion again. It's not about volume. It's about authority. You don't have to shout to shift something, but you do have to speak. You have to open your mouth with fire. You have to train your tongue to speak life when you're still tired. You have to condition your spirit to command even when your body wants to delay. So rise. Speak. Command. Set it in order, because the one who speaks first wins. Ready for the next one when you are. We're building something powerful here. Absolutely, Rouge. Here's a 600-word expansion of the fourth keynote. Heaven responds to authority, not emotion, with that same spiritual fire and kingdom clarity that sets the tone for transformation. Tears move people. Emotions stir the soul, but in the realm of the spirit, heaven doesn't respond simply to how you feel. Heaven responds to who you are and what you know. Heaven is not activated by noise, but by authority. And authority doesn't come from shouting louder or crying harder. It comes from standing in alignment with the will of God, knowing your legal rights as a citizen of the kingdom. You can pray for hours, but if you pray as a beggar, you'll leave the room exhausted. But when you pray as a son, as a daughter, as one who knows the throne you approach as your father's, you don't leave empty. You leave empowered. Emotions are real, but they are not always accurate. You can feel forgotten, but still be chosen. You can feel overwhelmed, but still be covered. That's why your prayer life cannot be built on emotion. It must be rooted in revelation. You don't come to God hoping He hears you. You come knowing He hears you. You come boldly. Boldness is not arrogance. It is awareness. It is standing in confidence, not because of your perfection, but because of your position. You're not hoping to be accepted. You've already been seated in heavenly places. The enemy doesn't care how emotional you get as long as you stay ineffective. He'll let you cry, vent, and complain just as long as you never rise up and speak with spiritual authority. Because the moment you shift from pleading to declaring, from begging to binding, from despair to dominion, everything changes. The atmosphere shifts. The chains start breaking. The resistance begins to crumble. Why? Because authority is the language of heaven. It's how heaven governs, how angels move, how power flows. You don't have to feel strong to pray strong. You just have to know who you are. The authority doesn't come from the volume of your voice. It comes from the revelation in your spirit. You speak healing, not because you feel healed, but because the word says by His stripes you are healed. You speak peace not because the storm has calmed, but because the Prince of Peace lives inside you and has given you the power to command the winds. But Jesus never panicked in a storm. He stood and said, "Peace, be still." That was an emotion. That was authority. And you carry that same spirit. You were not called to survive storms by crying. You were called to still them by speaking. Some of the most powerful moments in your prayer life will not come when you're weeping in pain, but when you rise up with spiritual indignation and say, enough is enough. I will not be tormented in my mind. I will not live under fear. I silence every lie. I cancel every demonic cycle. I declare victory not someday, but today. That kind of prayer shakes things, because now you're not reacting to the attack. You're standing in your seat of authority and you're enforcing what has already been written in heaven. This is why the enemy works overtime, to make you forget who you are. Because the moment you remember, the moment you realize you have access, power, dominion, his grip loses power. He knows if you ever stop praying like a victim and start praying like a ruler, his schemes will collapse. So yes, cry if you must, pour out your heart before God. He cares deeply. But when you're done, stand up, square your shoulders, wipe your face, and speak. Because heaven is not just listening for your pain, it is waiting for your decree. And when you speak with authority, heaven moves. Let me know when you're ready for the 5th keynote. We're almost at the finish line of a powerful sermon flow. Of course, Sarouge, here's the 600-word expansion of the 5th keynote. Victory is a daily choice sealed in the secret place, wrapped in that strong spiritual rhythm, saturated with revelation and grounded in kingdom identity. Victory is not passive, it is active. And it begins before the battle even shows up. Before the lie is spoken, you've already declared the truth. Before the challenge arises, you've already declared the outcome. That is the power of the secret place. It makes you proactive, not reactive. You're not scrambling for faith halfway through the day. You started the day dressed in the full armor of God, full of word, full of clarity, full of praise. And don't be mistaken, the world may never see what happens in your secret place, but they will see the fruit of it. They will see your peace when others are panicking. They will see your wisdom when others are wandering. They will see your stability when the shaking comes. Why? Because your victory was not dependent on circumstances. It was sealed when you chose to seek first the kingdom. So rise daily, go into the secret place, and make your declaration. Don't chase victory, I carry it. Because the secret place doesn't just prepare you to live, it prepares you to win. Let me know if you want this compiled into a full speech or formatted for video. It's got serious power in every line. Wake up with intentionality. Open your mouth with authority. Seal your day with divine alignment. Because when you start your day with this kind of prayer, you don't just live the day, you own it. And you walk not just through the day, but in victory. Let me know if you'd like this formatted as a script for a video or infused with Urdu phrases for more cultural power.